Ready? On. Today we are reviewing the Radeon RX 6750 XT, which is a refresh of last year's RX 6700 XT. With GPU prices slowly normalizing, if you have $500 to $600 to spend right now, you might be shopping for a card. So is this RX 6750 XT with its increased price tag really worth your money, or should we just stick to the good old RX 6700 XT? Let's get cracking. As a disclaimer, PowerColor did send this GPU over for this review, but as usual, we do reserve our right to an unbiased opinion. Recently, just last month actually, we checked out AMD's new lineup of GPUs paired with their Ryzen CPUs to test out Smart Access Memory as well as FSR and RSR that you can check out right here. Basically, this 2022 lineup of GPUs is a refresh on AMD's 2021 offerings with the 6000 series Radeon GPUs, and the RX 6750 XT is actually the middle of the bunch. But what exactly did AMD change with this refresh? In comparison to the RX 6700 XT, the 6750 XT has a tiny bump in factory boost clock, faster memory speed now at 18 gigabits per second, as well as a 20-watt jump in TDP. That's all it seems. Of course, there's that 15% increase in price to $550, which I'm curious to see is justified or not. Before we get into the numbers, let's take a closer look at this PowerColor Red Devil RX 6750 XT. As you can see, this is a beastly 2.5 expansion slot GPU with a metal framed plastic shroud with 3 fans atop of a chonky heatsink and 6 heat pipes, along with that metal backplate, makes this card very rigid and also quite hefty. For RGB fans, there are 2 sets of stripes at the front as well as 2 sets of fins here at the end of the card, and that Red Devil logo at the back. Look at all that RGB. Wow, so busy. Setting all the lights to red paired with that gunmetal finish makes for a menacing GPU in especially a red themed build. I also did some acoustics and thermal tests with this card under gaming and firmware loads, so here it is. Not only did it stay pretty cool, the fans were also pretty quiet. Let's kick things off with synthetic benchmarks. TimeSpy and Firestrike shows us a 6% performance lead on the 6750 XT over the 6700 XT, though it fell behind the RTX 3070 by 7%. I'm curious to see how this translates into actual game performance. Taking a look firstly at Shadow of Tomb Raider, the 6750 XT is 7 to 9% better than the 6700 XT and is on par with the 3070 in 1080p and 1440p, yet it lost to the 3070 in 4K by about 5%. A similar pattern can be seen in Death Stranding, but the 6750 XT actually beat the 3070 in Horizon Zero Dawn by 7%. Dying Light 2, which is a newer title, saw the 6750 XT beat the 3070 by 3% and the 6700 XT by 9%. Cyberpunk 2077, however, saw the green team taking back a 6% lead. For FPS games, in Doom Eternal for some reason, the 6750 XT pulled ahead of the 3070 by an impressive 12% and the 6700 XT by 10%. In Valorant, however, the 6750 XT and 3070 are pretty much neck in neck. Overall, from a pure rasterization perspective, if you average things out except for some outliers, you would actually see that the RX 6750 XT to be on par with the RTX 3070. Given its lower price, that's actually good value, especially in 1080p and 1440p gaming. For those who care about ray tracing, as you can see, the green team still has AMD beat. Though you should pay in mind that FSR and RSR are shaking things up a little. As I said, check out our other video to find out more. In terms of productivity performance, the RX 6750 XT is going to be ever so slightly better than the 6700 XT, as you can see from our Puget Bench tests. amongst all of it, though the green team still definitely has an edge because of CUDA. However, if you look at DaVinci Resolve, the Radeon cards will definitely be able to hold their own. So if DaVinci is all you use and gaming is all you care about, then the Radeon cards are a very good option. 3D, however, looking at Blender, is again the green team's game because of, well, CUDA. To recap, here are the pros, mess, and cons of the Radeon RX 6750 XT. I give this Radeon RX 6750 XT a hashtag cheap buy for 1440p 7.5 out of 10. But this PowerColor Red Devil Edition gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Look, there's no two ways about it. The Radeon RX 6750 XT doesn't feel like a necessary refresh over the already excellent RX 6700 XT. And given the fact that you can kind of close the performance gap between the two with an overclock, pretty small one, on the 6700 XT, that makes the price increase just less appealing. Don't get me wrong, this is still a great GPU for 1440p gaming, and if you don't care about ray tracing, I would say that it's still better value than the RTX 3070. But so is that RX 6700 XT, especially if you can get a bargain on that since it is now, well, a 1-year-old card. So there's that. But of course, if you still want ray tracing, then the green team is still the way to go, albeit at a higher cost, but that's up to you. And that is everything I have to say about the Radeon RX 6750 XT. If you thought this video is awesome, don't forget to like and share. If you want to pick up this Red Devil because you're naughty, feel free to check out the link in the description. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below so that I can reply to you, all your smart comments and all that stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to see more content like this. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I know I say a lot of Anns because I love Ann. Ann is quite pretty, and I'll see you in the next one. For this week's comment section, we have the Xiaomi Mi TV Q75-inch. Is 4K QLED at 8,000 ringgit too good to be true? Firstly, in the wonderful world of YouTube, we have as Drifter Abdul Mo9. He says, the title price should be 7.99999k. You think my title space got so much space to put, is it? Sabapati Paramasivan says that it's an awesome review and lol funny. You, bro, are lol funny. Siddhant Malik says, love from India, love from Malaysia for all your roti prata and your chai. And also, I kinda like palak paneer. Near Nolmini says, this is the Bluetooth remote controller, don't have to point towards the TV. Hey, it's my controller, what's your point? Get it? Now on Facebook, we have Jabrix Yin that says overall 5 out of 10. Hey, it's not that bad lah. Oh, by the way, they actually took my TV back and then fixed it. Apparently, it's because whoever flashed the firmware and sent it out to me didn't flash properly. It's because they don't know how to flash. Now that they flashed the firmware properly, the OSD and everything actually works pretty smoothly, so go figure. And then finally, this Aaron Jason come over and comment on my cameras, and he say that he liked the Sony ZV-1. Yes, it's a good camera, but if you got money like me, buy the A7S III. Don't buy the A7 IV, good enough lah. It's only 10,000.